News is the first draft of history. It is immediate and takes place in real time. Legends take longer to develop and are sometimes based on myth. This Fox News series looks at the truth behind the legend. Previously on Legends and Lies, the Patriots.
There is no more justice left in Britain than there is in hell!
Under our plan, we remain part of England.
One part of the empire makes slaves of the other.
Our dead brethren were cruelly massacred.
Remember every detail.
You were all found not guilty.
If they mean to have a war, let it begin here.
Run, fetch a carriage. I doubt his gouty old legs will carry me all the way home. Thank you, my good boy.
Hey, it's Franklin. It's him. He's back. Dr. Franklin, what news from London? Will Parliament...
Tory bastard!
King-loving scum!
Go back to England, you traitor! Traitor! Get out of my way! Parliament is going to hell!
Traitor! Go to hell! King-loving scum!
After 10 years in London, this is how I'm received.
I apologize for the reception, Dr. Franklin. Ever since Lexington and Concord, all of America has been on edge.
Lexington and Con.
Of course, you've been at sea. America is at war, Dr. Franklin. Welcome home. Good God.
Pushed to their limits by an oppressive empire, a determined group of rebels unites under the cause of liberty. Their quest for freedom will unify a people, ignite a revolution, and forge a new system of government. In time, these brave men and women will come to be known as the American Patriots. Benjamin Franklin, brilliant Renaissance man, world-renowned genius, an enduring symbol of America's potential for greatness. But behind every genius stands a man, and behind every legend lies the truth.
Is this the Pennsylvania delegation?
Maryland, sir.
Close enough.
Benjamin Franklin is an entrepreneur, scientist, and politician, but he's also a devout British loyalist. His success invents the American dream. For Franklin, it's not enough. His obsession with entry into British high society takes him on a 10-year mission to London, where he's forced to embrace his American identity. Now he must convince the most ardent patriots that he too is willing to fight for liberty.
Dr. Franklin, how good of you to tear yourself away from the bosom of Britannia to join our quaint provincial congress.
Mr. Adams, is it? Yes. Oh, I have so missed the puritanical wit.
Ben Franklin is literally world famous at this point. On the other hand, he was considered very close to the Parliament and the Brits. He had been spending years in London and had cozied up quite nicely to the powers that be there. There were some people who thought that either he was a British spy or he had sort of gone over to the British, and they looked at him with considerable suspicion.
While you were busy cavorting in London, we have been dragging these colonies towards liberty.
And no up-jumped printer grasping for royal table scraps is going to stand in my way.
Printer? Yes. But there was no jump. It was a long climb. I came to Philadelphia with barely a Dutch dollar in my pocket. And through a regimen of hard work, I made a success of myself.
Franklin borrows money to buy a print shop, the beginning of a successful franchise. Printing leads to writing Poor Richard's Almanac, a best-selling yearly collection of Franklin's witty sayings and useful advice, making him one of the wealthiest, most famous men in America.
I still earned a living with my hands. And because of that, some doors were closed to me.
The American colonies still share in the rigid class system of the mother country. To be a gentleman in the 18th century, you must be independently wealthy and devote your time to philanthropy, public affairs, or politics. This is the path that Franklin follows. Become a gentleman and seek acceptance from the British elite.
Franklin retires from printing at 42 and takes the first steps toward the life he truly desires.
So Franklin takes his money and uses it to get involved in all sorts of other enterprises.
Franklin's facility with science, particularly his investigations into electricity, ends up being a calling card that he uses as an entree to high society.
If you will indulge me, an exhibition of natural properties.
Ben Franklin inferred with tremendous accuracy that metal conducts electricity, but the early experiments could have killed people.
You'll be all right, gentlemen. It's light shock.
His experiments in electricity won him his generation's equivalent of the Nobel Prize. That changed things dramatically. He became this world-famous figure as a scientist.
To this day, we use Ben Franklin lightning rods on our buildings. He also came up with the first bifocals.
Franklin's inventions, including the strange musical instrument, the glass harmonica, enhance his stature even further. But Franklin wants more, and his ego and ambition change the way many Americans see him, even decades later.
Shall I play you a tune?
God Save the King, perhaps?
Mr. Adams, your japes are unwarranted. I have done nothing that you are not doing now. I try to unite these colonies against an outside threat.
The next step in Franklin's climb is politics, landing a seat in the Pennsylvania Assembly. But when Western Pennsylvania becomes an easy target for French-aligned natives, Franklin tries to unite the colonies for the first time to share in the defense of the frontier.
Though the Join or Die cartoon becomes a famous revolutionary symbol, Benjamin Franklin actually creates it 2 decades earlier. It's an attempt to persuade the colonies to come together, not as an independent nation, but as a stronger member of the British Empire. When the colonies reject his plan, Franklin turns to Britain for protection.
Franklin was never much of a soldier, per se, but he was a good organizer. He could help set up colonial defenses on behalf of the British Empire. And so he gained a certain prominence at that point. He was a good, loyal Englishman.
Well, there's a lovely sight!
Thanks to help from the mother country, Franklin builds a string of defensive garrisons, securing Pennsylvania's frontier and vital territory for British America.
When my home soil was invaded, I took up arms to defend it. History is repeating itself, Mr. Adams. Open your eyes.
My eyes are open, Dr. Franklin. And what I see is an old man obsessed with the past who still keeps a portrait of a king on his wall.
Ben Franklin has already fought a personal revolution. Now, as war threatens to consume America, the colonies need him to help lead the way. But to do so, he must shed his British ties and prove himself a true American patriot.
You see, Mr. Adams, I can be a firebrand too.